Attention water treatment experts. Pyxis Lab is your trusted PTSA partner. Pyxis offers not only the world's leading devices for PTSA fluorescent detection, but also provide the tracer chemical at unbeatable prices. Our ST500 series of inline PTSA devices ensures widely accurate monitoring while compensating for color and turbidity. Protect your system assets today and gain peace of mind with Pyxis Lab. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water treatment needs. Go to scalinguph2o.com/Pyxis. Once again, that's scalinguph2o.com/PYXIS. Pyxis, because water professionals deserve better. 3 industry titans, Masters Company, Radical Polymers, and MFG Chemical have joined forces to create your ultimate one-stop shop for your water treatment needs. We're talking over 60 years of Masters Company's expertise in private label products and cutting-edge test kits. Radical Polymers' game-changing Inisha additives, and MFG Chemical's custom manufacturing prowess. These American companies are bringing you top-notch quality and reliability all under one umbrella. From blending and ultra-concentrates to specialized polymers and custom solutions, they've got you covered. And with multiple AWT Supplier of the Year awards between them, you know you're getting the best of the best. Ready to revolutionize your water treatment game? Head over to scalinguph2o.com/MFG. Once again, that's scalinguph2o.com/MFG. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. I know you can't wait for the AWT convention taking place November 11th through 15th. While you're there, be sure to stop by and see the whole gang from Masters, Radical Polymers, and MFG Chemicals at booths 200 through 208. Happy Industrial Water Week, Scaling Up Nation. Trace Blackmore here, your host for the Scaling Up H2O podcast. And of course, the Scaling Up H2O podcast, your place to celebrate everything Industrial Water Week. We are your official celebration destination for Industrial Water Week. And of course, yesterday we talked about pretreatment and all things pretreatment. Well, today we are talking about boilers. And folks, you gotta love the boiler. It is the heart of the mechanical room. It is the heart of the production facility. And it's one of the great pieces of equipment that we are fortunate to be able to treat as industrial water treaters. Now, remember, our theme this week is water's industrial journey from foundations to future. And it's not only about the journey that the water takes in our care, it's about the journey that you have taken over your entire career. What is the journey that you took? How did you lay the foundation, and how are you adding to that foundation each and every day? Now, when we look at water's journey, water allows us to have everything that is around us, including life. And when we make things from water, we have to use a boiler in most cases. And as we all know, without us, without the industrial water treater, that boiler is not going to function efficiently for very long. It probably won't function at all for very long. That is where we come in. That's the role that we play. And today we are turning the heat up. It's all about boilers. And you can't talk about boilers without recognizing the BTU. Now, the BTU, we use this in the States. It's the British thermal unit. And no, all my friends in England and the UK, they say they don't use British thermal units. So I don't know what we're doing over here. I know we have an audience all over the globe. You probably don't use BTUs, but I'm a very simple water treater. That's what I know. We're going to talk about BTUs. If you want to use calories, fine, use calories, but I'm going to talk about the British thermal unit. I have the worst British accent ever, so I'm not going to harm you with that. I can do it, but you won't like it, or you will like it, and you'll make fun of me, and I just can't take that kind of pressure. So imagine me saying BTU with my best British accent. And the reason the BTU is so important, or whatever form of energy unit you want to use, is because it's all about heat. And our job is we are heat transfer efficiency managers, and that boiler is heating up the water through heat transfer. We're creating flame. And through that flame, that fire, we're transferring the heat through the equipment into the water where we are creating steam. And then that steam goes to wherever it's going to do whatever work that it needs to do. And our job is to make sure that all of the heat from that flame can get into that water with very minimal loss. Now, of course, we're going to get some loss as it goes through the metal interface or whatever interface that is. But outside of that, there shouldn't be anything on that tube wall interface, and we should have an efficient system. That doesn't happen by nature. That happens because we are industrial water treatment professionals. And it is so important to make sure that we get all those BTUs in steam, because it's the BTUs in the steam that does the work. Now, steam on its worst day has 1,150 BTUs in it. Water on its best day only has 180 BTUs in it. That's why if you've ever had an issue with wet steam, and what that is, that's water that's being carried over with the steam, you are having production issues. Things are going offline. You're not able to get equipment to do what it's supposed to do because there's not enough BTUs to do that. Well, why is that? Because water only has 180 BTUs at its best, and steam at its worst has 1,150. That's a big delta. That's why it's so important for us to do what we do so we have nice dry steam. And I say dry, but what I mean is we don't have any water that's being carried over with it, because wet steam is a drag. We don't want that. Now, that's all around the BTU, and it's so important that we understand heat transfer because that is our job. Some people might say, oh, I've got to put all these things into the boiler. Some people might say, oh, well, I have special recipe things to put in the boiler. I want to say, get over yourself. There's nothing special under the sun these days. We all share the same stuff. We all have the same technologies. And if something is new, give us a few years, the patent will run out, and then everybody will have it. There is nothing new under the sun when it comes to water treatment. What is novel is the person that is running that service, that is running that program. If they don't know everything they can, not only the program they are running, but the equipment that they are treating. Now, we're called water treaters, but we're really equipment treaters. Today, we are boiler treaters, and to understand that boiler, we need to understand how it has heat transfer. So nation, if that's part of your foundational training, and maybe you're still learning that and you're new, I want you to look that up, how a boiler works. Now, there are all sorts of different kinds of boilers, but I want you to be very familiar with how heat transfers through that boiler into steam. And now you know why it's important that we have good quality steam so we can get the work out of everything that's down that steam line. Now, when we're talking about boilers, when we're talking about BTUs, it's not just the boiler. It's the entire train of equipment that we put together that allow that system to work. it probably starts with some sort of pre-treatment. Now, no real heat transfers done there, but I want to mention it because we just celebrated pre-treatment Monday. But now we get into where all the heat transfer takes place. And that's the feedwater system. Now, it might be a deaerator where we're heating up the water even hotter under pressure so we can deaerate and take some carbon dioxide out as well. That's all in the feedwater system. Well, there are BTUs there, and hopefully we are recovering condensate because feedwater is condensate and makeup water. And the more condensate we get back, the more heat, the more BTUs that we get back that we can put back into the system. So after the feed water, we then have the boiler system, which is where we're putting more BTUs in, where we're creating steam. And then that steam flows through the steam lines doing the work. And when we start losing the BTUs there, it condenses into condensate, and that is pumped back into the feedwater system. And we do that all day long. And of course, we have a particular way that we're going to treat each one of those components, and we're going to do that well. We're going to make sure that it stays clean. So we have great heat transfer at every interface along that train. And we're going to make sure that we're treating it properly so that equipment has the longevity of not only what the manufacturer says, but probably a lot longer because we are doing what we do so well. And of course, that is industrial water treatment. So with all of that, take care of your boiler and take pride in the fact that you are taking care of not only the boiler, but that complete train that I just mentioned. But don't assume that every single one of your clients knows what I just said, what you are doing. Make sure you're telling your clients what it is that you are doing and why it's so important that you do it. We do not tell our story enough, and it's my hope that this Industrial Water Week, in one of the ways we celebrate, we tell our story more often. Definitely tell it to everybody you can tell it to, but make sure you can tell your customers why you are so valuable so they value you being there. Not only so they pay your invoices, but also so they fix problems so they don't become systemic problems. And they keep you in the loop when they are making changes because they see you as a valuable member of their team. So happy Boiler Tuesday, everybody. Now, I'm not done. We're going to hear from some previous guests that are also going to wish you happy Boiler Tuesday.
Happy Boiler Tuesday, Scaling Up Nation. My name is Barry Higgins and I'm with Aquachem in Ireland. My work at boilers includes the day-to-day running of them, putting chemistry plans together for them, making sure that they're in tip-top shape and that they're energy efficient and to save the customers money on water and energy. My most interesting boiler story is actually not even my story. It's my old boss, Kieran Coleman, rest in peace. He was doing a boiler inspection on Christmas Day about 20, 30 years ago. And he went down to the boiler, took off, he got a lovely gold watch for Christmas, took off the gold watch, took off his nice clothes, went inside the boiler, came back out, no gold watch. Somebody had pinched his gold watch on the side. So his warning to everybody was never wear your gold watch when you're going to inspect the steam boiler because somebody will pinch it. Yeah, I always thought that was a very funny story, so kind of like it resonated with me. But something I would like everyone to know about boilers is that they're really a big kettle, and you have to put really nice, soft, really good quality water into them if you want nice, fluffy steam. Otherwise, you're going to have collateral problems, which you don't want. So treat them like a big kettle, put lovely quality water into them, and you will get lovely, fluffy steam. I see boilers in the future looking like heat pumps. Steam boilers could be phased out. I don't know. It seems to be moving that way. Heat pumps seems to be the new in thing. So it's kind of a bit scary that this could be the new generation of steam boilers. But we watch this page like AI taking over. It might never happen.
Well, thank you, Barry. And Nation, you gotta love Barry's voice, that quintessential Irish accent. Barry was on an episode that was so awesome, we actually split it in 2 episodes. So it was Steam Boiler Essential Checks, and that was episode 353 and 354. Those episodes are a great way for you to build your boiler knowledge foundation. So if you haven't listened to those in a while, by all means, go back and listen to those. And here is our next guest.
Happy Boiler Tuesday, Scaling Up Nation. My name is Ivan Morales with Nalco Water, an Ecolab company. My work with boilers includes OTSG, HRSG, high-pressure boilers, every type of boiler that you can imagine. My most interesting boiler story is one time in Venezuela, around back in 2000, I had a boiler, high-pressure boiler, 600 PSI, that we were fitting with an internal treatment of oil polymer, and suddenly that polymer disappeared. Like the phosphate is called phosphate hideout, very normal, something that we know very well. Well, I was 3 years in the industry. I didn't know much about what's going on, and I had a lot of troubleshooting and figured out that was oxygen that was oxidizing all the polymer. That was interesting for me. There's something that I like everyone to know about boiler is that the OTSGs can be a good source of steam generation, but they only cycle 4 times compared with the conventional boiler that you put it to cycle around 50. So that is interesting. And they can provide not the same quality. And when I say quality, I say the ratio between vapor and water, because that is a wet steam, but can produce a nice steam. And I see boilers in the future looking like a part of the process. It's not only just a tiny part in the process. It is now embedded, and I would say that making the life better for everyone. You see boilers in hospitals, you see boilers in big refineries, you see boilers in pulp and paper. So boilers are important for what we do every day.
Well, Ivan, happy Boiler Tuesday to you as well. And Ivan was on episode 366. That episode was called Produced Water, Expert Perspectives and Practical Tips. So if you haven't heard that episode in a while, by all means, go back and check that out. And here is our next guest.
Happy Boiler Tuesday, Scaling Up Nation. My name is Ben Frieders with Kimready. My work with boilers started out in the U.S. Navy on fast attack submarines. We had big hot rocks filled with uranium that made steam. My most interesting boiler story is a safety concern. Whenever I do training for my team, I always talk about how dangerous steam can be and how dangerous boilers can be. My quick story is I had a customer who had just finished a boiler inspection for their annual, and they started it up that morning. And my contact facilities manager had just walked by in the boiler room and walked up to his office. And about 2 minutes later, he got a call on the radio that the entire back of the building was filling up with steam. So he went back up there. He tried to get into the boiler room. A complete white blanket of steam covered the room. He couldn't get in there. They called the fire department, and what they discovered once the steam was done is a gasket had blown from the manhole inspection cover and had taken about 2 inches of concrete off and blew the entire contents of the boiler into the boiler room. So that being said, Scale It Up Nation, please be safe out there. Boilers and steam are extremely dangerous, and keep yourself safe.
Thank you, Ben. And Nation, you probably recognize Ben's voice right off. He was on not too terribly long ago on May 16th on episode 420. The episode was called Tapping into Tech, How Ben Frieders Uses AI to Elevate Water Treatment Marketing. That was a fun episode, and I learned a tremendous amount during that interview. And I will say that is one of the coolest things about being the host of this podcast. I have learned so many things from our wonderful guests. So all of our guests that are participating this week, thank you for helping us celebrate Industrial Water Week. And thank you for being a guest on the Scaling Up H2O podcast. Well, Nation, I told you yesterday that one of my favorite teaching tools is James McDonald's Detective H2O. And of course, we have a brand new episode each and every day this week. And in addition to that, we have a brand new mystery voice each and every episode. Now, a lot of you have already done this, but you've gone on LinkedIn, you've tried to figure out who the guest voice is. And of course, I'm going to reveal all of those to you on Friday's episode. Well, Nation, the fun is getting ready to start with Boiler Tuesday. Here is Detective H2O, the case of having the blues.
Welcome to Detective H2O, the case of having the blues. It was an early spring morning in Waterville, boiler steam curling above the rooftops. Detective H2O was warming up with his first cup of coffee when his trusty black phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Detective H2O here, best water treater this side of the Ohio. Solving water problems drop by drop. What you got?
Detective, this is Jeff Hollis from Cardinal Textiles Boiler House, and we've hit a real head-scratcher with the water softener.
Jeff, always good to hear from you. What's up? Brine tank empty? Timer stuck?
I wish it were that simple. It's a testing puzzle. We swapped to a new supplier's hardness test kit yesterday. Now the test says there's a trace of hardness in the softened effluent. Just a hint, but the old kit, same one these folks have used for years, still says it's soft as distilled water. The engineers are split. Is the new stuff too sensitive, or is the old stuff missing something?
Sounds like a classic case of whose test is telling the truth. I'll be right over. Detective H2O packed up his weathered test kit, hopped into his blue Ford, and drove through the awakening city toward Cardinal. The plant buzzed with activity, steam drifting and the air thick with the scent of heated concrete. Jeff Hollis stood waiting near the softener tanks, 2 test kits ready.
Here's the rundown, Detective. Boiler spec needs super soft water. The new kit shows a faint hardness. Just a flick of lavender. The old test, still a perfect sky blue.
Let's take both for a spin. The truth is in the chemistry. Side by side, Jeff and Detective H2O ran both tests on the same softened sample. The old kit's vial stayed blue as a summer sky. The new kit, however, shifted ever so slightly, almost imperceptible, toward purple, pointing to about 0.3 ppm of hardness.
If the new kit's right, we've got a problem. If not, we're looking at false alarms and wasted regenerations.
Let's benchmark both kits. Let's run them against standards at the lowest detection levels. Together, they prepared known standards at 0, 0.2, and 0.5 ppm as calcium carbonate. Both kits showed blue at 0. At 0.2, only the new kit revealed the faintest shade of purple, clearer than the competition. At 0.5, both showed a definite color shift, but the new kit responded faster and more distinctly. There it is, Jeff. The new reagent is more sensitive down at the lowest end. It's catching hardness just as it happens, while the old kit's shrugging it off.
Guess this new kit is helping folks see what is really happening, down to the tiniest drop.
And it means this plant softener resin might be nearing exhaustion. Early warning, thanks to better tools.
So, we use the best data, optimize our maintenance, and keep that boiler scale free.
That's how you stay ahead in water treatment, Jeff. Trust the science, but always verify. I think we closed this case, and Cardinal's boiler stayed out of hot water, proving once again that a true water professional interprets test results and doesn't take them as gospel. In the underbelly and penthouses of the metropolis of Waterville, where the boilers percolate and cooling towers fog, there is one man who works tirelessly to end corrosion, stop scale, fight low-life microbes, and conserve water. That man is Detective H2O, best water treater this side of the Ohio, solving water problems drop by drop.
Well, do you know who it is? Who is that guest voice? If you do, play along on social media. Heck, play along even if you don't. I think that's even more fun when people guess. So we're going to have that all week long on our LinkedIn. So join us there, either Trace Blackmore or Scaling Up H2O. Happy Boiler Tuesday, Scaling Up Nation. Remember, go to your mechanical room, take a picture of your favorite boiler, hashtag that to IWW25 and Scaling Up H2O. Now, tomorrow we're going to be chilling out with Cooling Wednesday. I can't wait to bring you that episode tomorrow. Remember, our theme this week is Water's Industrial Journey, from foundations to futures, and we're thinking not only about the equipment and the journey of the water as it passes through all the equipment that we are treating, but also the journey that we have taken, the journey that we are currently taking, and the journey we have yet to take. Nation, happy Industrial Water Week. I hope you have a great Boiler Tuesday. Achieve your goals with the Rising Tide Mastermind. Set your sights on success and let us help you get there. Our mastermind group provides the accountability and support you need to achieve your personal and professional goals. To find out more, go to scalinguph2o.com/mastermind. Once again, that's scalinguph2o.com/mastermind. Find out if the Rising Tide Mastermind is right for you.